can't do anything. I'm a nice man. I mind my own business. So you tell me that's that before I beat the hell from you. I have so much strength in me, you have no idea. I have a love in my life. It makes me stronger than anything you can imagine. I would say that's that, mattress man.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Film Bros Podcast. My name is Isaiah Lucas, and I'm joined by my co-hosts,
Abraham
and Nick.
How y'all doing tonight?
I'm good.
Yeah, I'm good too.
Good.
Yeah.
I'm glad to hear that. You know, I was rewatching one of our episodes, and I noticed how I always say how y'all doing tonight. Has it ever occurred to you guys that people most likely don't listen to us at night? At night?
Yeah. They're probably just like, why are they always telling us good night at the end? I don't get it.
Yeah, seriously. I think about that sometimes. Maybe I overthink. But it's just because we record.
Yeah, this is our zone, man.
At nighttime. Yeah, we're just at the Film Bros Studios. Everything is perpetually at night.
Yep,
always
at night.
At night.
Night.
SpongeBob.
Come on.
I was about to say your lies. Come on.
But
it's been a long day.
Yeah,
has it been?
Dude, work today was ridiculous. These past 2 days have been crazy.
Okay. Well, the good thing about this pod, as we know, this is the area where we can kind of decompress and just forget about everything that's going on out there. In this little confined studio space, we have no outside world. We are able to just sit here and just exist.
In our own imagination.
Yeah, to bring it full circle with the SpongeBob references.
Exactly.
But today we're going to be talking about the 2002 film Punch Drunk Love. This movie is written and directed by Paul Thomas Anderson, and I think this is about my third time watching this movie. I think it's your guys' first, right?
Yeah, it was my first.
Yeah, my first as well. I'm a little jealous of you because I feel like this deserves more than one watch.
Yeah.
Okay.
Only because, man, does it throw you a bunch of loops towards the beginning pretty much throughout the whole thing.
Yeah.
I didn't know quite what to expect.
Mm-hmm.
I know it was supposed to be a serious film, but man, it really starts off strong and it holds that pace throughout the entire thing.
Yeah. I think that this is one thing, too, that Paul Thomas Anderson does really well is this is one of his shorter films. This is about an hour and a half.
Mm-hmm.
And so, a 90-minute movie, you can pack in a lot. Like, I think of a movie like Good Time.
Yeah.
That movie's only an hour and a half. But
Which feels so long,
so
though.
much happens.
It makes the pacing go like this.
Yeah, and it
soars.
Exactly. Took the words right out of my mouth. And I think that sort of happens with this movie as well because there is just no downtime.
There's no downtime.
And I think that's something that really works. It really works for this movie.
For sure.
A lot of his other movies are a bit slower, a bit more methodical, a bigger runtime. I just recently watched There Will Be Blood for the first time this past weekend, and I loved it. And it was about 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
But another good thing about that movie was it felt like I was like, man, I didn't even feel like it was 2.5 hours. I was just so enthralled.
Mm-hmm.
And then there are other movies where he does, like The Master. I've also seen that one. That one feels longer, and it's only 15 minutes longer than There Will Be Blood. But through that one, I'm kind of like, oh man, dude, I feel like I've been here for a while.
It's a march. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I'm excited to talk about this movie with you guys. Where are you guys at with Paul Thomas Anderson movies?
I think this is the first. I don't think I've ever seen any of his movies besides this one.
Okay.
Because you guys were talking about it before we started recording, and I was just like, what are you talking about?
Okay.
Like, I hate to say that. I hate to say it, but I don't. Like, I'm going to look him up real quick, see if I know anything.
Well,
it's a lot.
I have to say, I'm excited for you because he puts out consistent bangers.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think he's on the same level as like a Spike Jonze or I probably said his name wrong actually. Spike Jonze, I think is how you pronounce it. I would also say he's maybe on the level of like a Quentin Tarantino, like he's just consistently putting out hits. And, there's nothing that this guy can't do. And he's proven that with all of his films.
Yeah.
It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, I'm looking at his list right now of what he's put out. And the only thing that I know of it is Licorice Pizza. And then There Will Be Blood, just because we've talked about it, but I've never seen it. And then, Punch Drunk Love was the first one I've ever seen.
Okay.
All right.
Crazy.
Yeah. I've watched Punch Drunk Love. I watched There Will Be Blood. And I really wanted to watch Licorice Pizza, but I didn't get around to it. So this would be my second film of his.
Yeah.
And I feel like this one's a little different than There Will Be Blood, at least. That's the only one I have to reference off of. This one felt way more kind of like jam-packed and full of chaos. Whereas I feel like with There Will Be Blood, he had a lot more room to stretch his characters out and to kind of build the world in a more linear fashion, whereas this is just kind of like you starting with the pedal on full.
Yep.
And I enjoyed it, though. As much as I'm talking about it right now, I really enjoyed it. I hope that I can kind of put to words what I enjoyed about it.
Yeah.
Only because I feel like there's a lot of like symbolism that I missed so far. But I really did enjoy it. I loved Adam Sandler.
Yes.
Adam Sandler, I think, fits his role kind of perfectly as being like this. He's almost like a standoffish. He kind of doesn't really have a voice for himself until a little bit towards the end. But he's this perfect character for this film.
Yeah. And one of the things that I really respect about Paul Thomas Anderson is he has this like ability to pick out like the weird and the unnatural and make movies about those things. Like the whole inspiration for this movie came about from this guy, is a real life guy, I think around 2001, 2002, who straight up collected healthy choice puddings because they were offering a frequent flyer mile program. And if you bought however so many cups, you would, redeem, it'd be redeemable for up to 500 frequent flyer miles. And this guy spent $3,000
just like the movie
on pudding, on the specific brand of pudding, and got over 1.2 million frequent flyer miles, and totally scammed the system.
Yeah.
And he ended up being on the news for it and a couple other things, and he essentially like would never have to pay for a flight in his life because he has so many miles that he can just use.
He's got so much pudding to live off of now too.
Yeah, seriously.
He deserves it. I don't think he should get any jail time, man.
No, not at all.
He put in the effort.
Yeah. And that's one of the things too that I really admire about PTA is he's
PTA. Yeah,
he's a great filmmaker, a great storyteller.
Yeah, for sure.
But I'm excited to dive into this with you guys. So if you guys haven't seen this movie, go check it out. It's streaming free on Prime. We'd found out with ads. So if you're okay watching a movie with ads, it's totally for free. You do have to watch a couple of ads in between or something like that, but it is on Prime streaming there. I'm lucky enough to own this on Criterion Collection, which was awesome. And I think I let you guys, I'm assuming you watched it as well.
Yeah, I watched it with him.
Yeah, we watched it together.
Okay. Yeah, and did you guys get to take a look at like any of the supplements or anything like
he
that?
He did.
Yeah.
I was just relaxing. I had just gotten off of work, so I went over there, watched the movie, and then I just chilled. So he got to look at it. But I was looking at some of the stills and like on my phone on my lunch today, and it reminded me of one of the things that are in the book, which is, it was like, I try to think, the still was like super like colory and like it just reminded me of that paper that's in that.
Yeah.
And it's
A little insert.
It's so beautiful and abstract, I think is the word I'm looking for.
Oh yeah, for sure it is.
Yeah.
And I was just like, that'd be cool just to even have like a poster like that.
Yeah.
And then have it say Punch Drunk Love on the bottom.
Yeah.
I don't know, that's what I was thinking about it.
Yeah, it was like an excerpt from, I think her name was Mary July or something.
Yeah, she does like the essay that's in the little pamphlet on the inside.
And it was super informative. She has a lot of ideas that I totally missed, like when it comes to the color of a suit versus the color of her dress.
Yeah.
And kind of, how she took all of the meanings. And it even goes in like there's a little bit of criticism I felt in there where she was like, I didn't quite like this part of it, but where they took it, it eventually kind of, it was interesting, and it gave me a little bit more information that I definitely missed on my first watch.
Yeah, and that I have to say again, that's one of the things that I love about Criterion Collection movies is they come with all these little things that you don't usually get with a regular release that you can go pick up at like Best Buy or Target or whatever.
I need to get my first copy of Criterion. I don't even own a single copy.
I'm telling you,
Wait for the sale.
50% off
Wait
sale.
for
Just
the
wait,
sale.
man.
The only one I want is Jennifer's Body, anyways.
I don't think they have actual physical copy.
I don't think it would ever be.
It's streaming on their channel.
I was
know
about to say.
that, but I don't think they have an actual physical collection yet.
Bro, imagine they made a Criterion collection of Blood and Blood Out. Or The Sound of Music.
It'd be crazy.
Bro, if
Be
they did
crazy
Sound of
for
Music,
sure.
I'd be high. That's the first thing I'd buy. I'd buy it full price.
I know you would too.
It'd be crazy. Yeah, I got lucky. Like with one of the Criterion collections I got was the Before trilogy.
Yeah, that was a great.
That was a
purchase.
good
Oh, dude.
purchase.
Dude, if I didn't get it on the sale, like I think on regularly it was
Probably $60.
$80.
Oh.
It was $80 for 3 movies, but I got it not knowing anything about them, and it was the sale, and I was like, I've heard a lot about these. It's 3 movies for $40. Usually you go to Best Buy, you get a brand new movie, it's $20. That's just one.
Yeah,
and
this
so
is 3 for 40.
and so I was like, this is like 3 for $40. Let's just do it. I heard they're like romance films. I'll watch them with my wife, and I ended up loving them. They're some of my favorite movies now.
Yeah, seriously.
And
man.
they're great. So, without further ado, man, we'll get into talking about this. We'll give you a little synopsis here about what Punch Drunk Love is. It's about this character named Barry Egan, who is played by Adam Sandler, and he is a seller of novelty plungers, and he owns his own business, and his life sort of gets a little topsy-turvy whenever he gets introduced to a woman named Lena, who is sort of starts to become a love interest, and while he is developing this relationship with Lena, previously he had also become very lonely and had called a how do I say this?
Georgia Peach, man.
Yeah, he calls this line where you can talk to women provocatively.
Yeah.
And pay for it, and he gives like almost all of his information out, tells them all this stuff, and just wants to talk to somebody because he feels lonely, and that ends up screwing up a lot of his life. People come after him, they want money, they won't leave him alone, they harass him, and meanwhile he's dealing with all this change and these feelings that he's having for this new woman, this new love interest in his life, and then is also dealing with being harassed and bullied by these people, and just being stepped all over. And we follow Barry's sort of evolution throughout this hour and 30, and it's a very rewarding one, I think.
Yeah,
and I'm excited to break it down with you guys. So if you haven't seen this movie, do go check it out. I recommend it. It is a very fun film. It's exhilarating. It's sad. I love every moment of it. Can't recommend it enough. And we are going to be talking about spoilers, so if you haven't seen it, or if you don't care about spoilers, continue listening, or stop it, pause it, whatever you want to do. So I'll go ahead and start us off with my first favorite scene. My first favorite scene I have is not necessarily the intro here, but it is the first sale that we get to see Barry do whenever those guys are in the
Oh, is this the Unbreakable
plunger one?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
this is my favorite one too.
favorite
Yeah.
scene.
So I just love how immediately stressful it is. Like, so we see he's doing like a sales pitch to these guys, and he's like, "Oh, we have these new things. They're called fungers, right? Fun plunger, and this one is." We call this one the Ace of Spades or something, and it has like
a dice on
like
it.
it has like a dice on the top or something like that. And he's like, on this one, while he's in the middle of a sale, the intercom's going off, and it's like, Barry, line 1, it's your sister,
Dude.
or something. And he's like, all right, I'm in the middle of a sale. All right, give me just a second. I'm gonna go see what's going on. He picks up the phone, and one of his sisters is calling, and it's just like, hey, you gonna come to that party tonight or something? He's like, yeah, I thought about it. I'm not exactly sure yet. I'm probably gonna go. She's like, okay, you better come. And he's like, okay, all right, I think about it. I'm at work. And he's like, okay, bye, love you. Hang up. Goes back to the sale. All right, so yeah, there's a couple other things. Another one. Larry, line 2, your sister's calling, and
you got another sister?
Yeah, and so like eventually you kind of get the gist, right? He's trying to do things. He keeps getting these distractions, people calling him, people talking to him. Sale's not going the way he wants. He breaks out one of the new plungers and says, like, this one's great because, we've been trying to work on this one for a while. It has the unbreakable handle, right? And he just goes, whoosh, and it just shatters everywhere. Rice goes all over the place, and he's just like, this must have been one of the old ones.
Yeah.
Well, the other ones won't be like that, and just kind of throws it away real quick, and then gets another call, and the guy while he's holding the broken plunger, intercom's like, Barry, line 2, your sister's calling. He's like, how many sisters do you have? And he's all, I have 7. and then just throws the plunger. He's like, we put that over there with the other old ones.
Yeah.
And then goes over and takes another call. And I just love how, how immediately stressful this is, and how, we get introduced to Barry as a character in the beginning of the film is very shy, very timid. He, is very intentional with his things. Like, he wants to understand the whole frequent flyer thing. In the beginning, he's like, I think you guys don't understand. Like,
he's like, the value here.
Yeah. He's all, it doesn't make sense if you're giving 500 frequent flyer miles for a can of soup that's $1.79. Like, I don't think you understand the value of what you're giving away here.
And the guy's like, yeah, I don't know. Like, the guy has no cares of the world. Yeah. And he's so focused on getting these frequent flyer miles, man.
Yeah. And but in the context of this scene, he's trying to do all this stuff. He keeps getting all these external stressors that are coming in, and eventually his sister even comes in and starts kind of like
hounding him
and just being trash. And you see all these characters, all these sisters just are kind of, they treat Barry like garbage.
Like
garbage.
And they treat him like he's like, they could just walk all over him and be like, you better come. You say you're never going to do these things, and you always do this, blah, blah, blah. And he's kind of like, all right, yeah, I'll see if I can do it. And his sisters just continue to hound on him. I also do love whenever, we get a break from the moment, right? And he goes out, and it looks like everyone's having a lunch break. There's like a taco truck in the alley, and we see Lena's car.
Yep.
And it has this like slow pan zoom, and you feel this like orchestra start to swell in, and it's almost kind of like he's like, I wonder what that woman's doing right now,
Yeah.
And that's eventually whenever the main sister that we get to interact with comes to Barry's job, and I think she introduces him to Lena.
Oh, is this the scene?
I think so.
Well,
no. This is whenever she introduces him, and he's just kind of like, oh yeah, I got all this stuff going on.
Yeah.
And, I can't really talk right now. And she's like, hey, well, I'm inviting her to the party, so you better come.
Yeah, and he's like, don't do that.
Don't do that. Why? I'm not even sure I'm gonna come.
Yeah, and she was like, well, what are you gonna do? And he was like, I gotta pay my gym membership.
Yeah.
And I was like, what kind of excuse is that?
Yeah. And even so, he, she even confronts him and says, well, I talked to all the other sisters. They said you were coming.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, yeah, I don't know. And he gives the gym membership excuse, and she's like, oh, okay. Oh, that must be so important, blah, 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 and all stuff. And, trying to kind of guilt him into it.
Seriously, yeah.
You can tell he just doesn't want to do it. He doesn't have the social, bandwidth to deal with this party and all this stuff. And it's a really great first, feels like maybe 10 minutes where we learn so much about Barry as a character. We learn that he's very socially awkward, sort of doesn't want to be in social situations, especially around family.
Yeah, for sure.
I think it's very important.
Yeah. The way that they frame this too is like, he keeps getting all these calls, and since I'm the first time watch, I hear the same, it seems like the same voice.
It does seem like the same voice.
I feel like it helps me to be in his, I think the film does this great, is like we get to really get into the mind of Barry Egan and experience the emotions he's experiencing, because on the phone, every single phone call is like, are you coming? Are you coming? And it's I feel like the script is like, you're going to repeat these exact words over and over and over. And I feel like it's just gnawing at me because I'm like, hey, I understand. I'm going. Like, shut up. Yeah. And then she comes in. And I'm like, you just called. Yeah. Like, dude, this is crazy. I'm being hounded with information. And I was truly feeling like Barry. Yeah. And Barry was taking it way more calm than I would have been. Yeah. I'd be like, dude, shut up. Like, I would have
been like, dude, shut the heck up, or I'm not. I would have swung.
Yeah, seriously. So I completely understand kind of where his mental state is and why he doesn't really want to be around his family, all within just one scene. The directing is just, it's able to get me into that space.
Yeah.
And I hated it, but I also felt this is where the empathy for Barry comes in, because he does kind of some pretty bad things.
Yeah, he acts out in rage.
He rages out, but it's so understandable.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not condoning his actions, but it's like, dude, I understand. Like,
I would want to do that too.
I fully sympathize with you right now.
Yeah.
Especially when he gets to the actual party itself, dude.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's another one of my favorite scenes as well.
Oh my goodness.
The party?
Yeah. It's my favorite scene but I have one before that. Do you?
I have one, but I'm trying to remember why I wrote it down like this, because I just wrote down the scene as pudding.
Pudding.
Oh, I know what scene you're talking about because
when he goes to the actual store and he reads the pudding cup, right?
Yeah, no, well, he audibly said that one of the scenes was sick. You know what I'm talking about?
He just goes pudding. Oh, that's whenever
when you see her in the back.
Yeah,
but not. Nick didn't believe me.
I didn't. I totally missed all that.
Now you remember. I remember. So he goes and buys all this pudding, and you see faintly in the background a girl wearing a red dress, which in the beginning of the movie, before we get to where your favorite, the plunger scene, there's a lady who goes up to where he works and is like, I'm gonna be late to work. Can you give this key to the
mechanic?
The mechanic. And he goes, oh yeah, super awkward. But she was wearing a red dress.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And I had told Nick, I said, did you see that? Did you see that? And he was like, what? I said, that's her. She's following him. And he was like, no, like that's not gonna be in there.
Yeah, there's a moment too whenever she glances out and retreats back.
See, I'm completely missed all that.
You can see like a blurred out, all red figure, and she kind of glances. Like there's moments where they walk and she's kind of walking with him, and then there's a part where he stops. She kind of stops and then goes, and retreats back into the other aisle.
And I liked it because I caught that. Because then later on, I was looking at facts of this movie. We get to see that it was her.
There's one specific scene you talked about though. It's when he's looking down all the aisles, and I love how they filmed this movie, man.
Yeah.
It seems so like generic, but it's like a POV on a dolly, and it's going past all the soups and all that stuff. And
and it looks fake.
It looks
almost fake.
Yeah, and how like color gradient it is. It's all cold, and it looks like very surgical. Mm-hmm. But just the way that they decided to film it was sick. And then the reason why I totally missed her is because we don't truly know why he's there. He's kind of just going down the aisles and he goes, what am I here for? What am I here for? Talk to me.
Yeah.
And then he goes, pudding. And he sees all the pudding.
Yeah.
And then obviously you can see that he's looking at the
brand.
Yeah, he's looking at the labels. And then they deliberately show the pricing as well. Because they're trying to build this whole idea of like, he's scamming the system right now.
Yeah. He gets four pudding cups for $1.
Yep.
He's like 25 cents a cup. That means you could essentially fly anywhere in the world for the rest of your life for $3,000. Yeah.
1,000 miles.
Yeah.
I don't know. I enjoyed it though. This was a great scene.
Yes.
Yeah. Then that leads into the party.
Oh, it does.
It does.
Okay. Yeah. So the party. He gets there, and do they deliberately make all the sisters look the exact same?
I think so.
Dude. All of them are brunettes. All of them. There's some with glasses, some without, but they all have the same voice. And it's kind of shot. Honestly, it reminded me of a Safdie film in this situation, because he goes there and they start like they're talking about him beforehand as he's coming in. He's kind of like hesitating to go in.
Yeah,
it's almost like he's kind of like
do I really want to do this?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, yeah,
he's getting himself ready, and you hear them talking about an old story where he lashed out and broke some glass windows, right?
Yeah.
And you think, oh, it's a kid, anger problems, that's going to be a motif running through this film, right? And he gets in there and all the sisters are like, oh, we were just talking about you. Do you remember when we were calling you this word? We were calling you this as a kid. And they continually say it over and over.
I want to say they said it like at least 20 times.
Yeah, and they're like, you would get so mad when we would call you this. Remember
remember
that?
I would
You
call
threw
you
the
this?
hammer through the thing because we called you this, and we never understood why you even had the hammer in the first place. But you kept doing it, and we called you this name, and you threw the hammer through the glass door. And he's like, I don't remember that.
He's like, I didn't do all that.
I don't do that. I don't even remember that. Just trying to deny it.
And I don't know, just the way that they shot it, where he hugs one sister, she's talking. As she's talking, the camera leaves her, and all the sisters are talking, coming up, hugging. We don't know anybody, any of the names. I'm just like trying to figure out.
This is a really chaotic scene.
Exactly, and that's why it's bringing me into his emotion, into his mindset, because I'm totally at a loss for words. And there's a scene that's honestly one of my favorites. Is it doesn't even show it. It doesn't even show it, but all the sisters, like, we get this long table, and they're like setting up all the plates and all that.
And Barry's not even in it. The camera leaves him.
Yeah, it does, and it's intentional.
Yeah.
But all of a sudden, all the sisters are like, this scene.
They keep talking about him.
They do.
Too.
They do, and then all of a sudden, the glass breaks.
Yeah, you just hear. He like breaks one glass. He like punches the other one and kicks the other one, and it all shatters. And they're all like, Barry, what the hell's wrong with you? They all get so mad at him.
And I was like, what do you mean what's wrong with him? You were like basically stabbing him in the side every time you said that word to him.
Yeah.
What do you expect of him? You know what I mean? Of
Yeah.
course he's going to redo what he did when he was a kid.
Yeah.
And I felt for him so bad.
Yeah. I also extend this scene to whenever he goes to talk to his brother-in-law.
This
And
scene, I busted up laughing, dude.
I laughed, but I also, on a rewatch, I'm like, I feel so bad for him.
do
And I'm
too.
so sad because he, immediately when he gets there, I mean, he's around family. Everybody just starts to pick on him. And, he lashes out, does the same thing that he did whenever he was a kid. And I have to commend the great acting here from Adam Sandler. You could tell that he's really uncomfortable throughout the entirety of this whole party scene. I love before he breaks the glass, how loud the party gets.
Yep.
Like it feels like the volume increases like by like at least 3 or 4 levels, and then he breaks the glass. And like I said, it was super sad whenever he goes to talk to his brother-in-law, who he says is a doctor.
This is why I was laughing.
And he's like, you're a doctor, like you think you
opens
could find somebody to help me, or can I talk to you or something? And he's like, I'm a dentist.
He goes, Barry, I'm a dentist. I was so caught off guard because I was like, oh, he's actually getting help that he needs. And he straight was like, I'm a dentist, man. I was like, what can I do to help you?
Yeah. And he's like, well, you may know somebody, some doctor or something like that, somebody to talk to. And he's like, well, what's exactly wrong here? And Barry says this quote, or he says, I don't know if there's anything that is wrong because I don't know how other people are. And I immediately, when I heard that, I was just like, wow, like that feels so relatable to like be like, I don't necessarily know if anything else is wrong because I don't know how anybody else feels. I just know how I feel. So I can't tell if anything's wrong because I felt this way this entire time, and it's just very vulnerable. And there's a part too, whenever he's like, I don't know, I cry a lot, like at
And then he
random
starts.
times,
He
and then he
really
starts
starts
going and starts crying like uncontrollably, and then even retreats from him, like he's really breaking down in front of this guy and becoming vulnerable in front of him and showing him what he's doing, but then recludes back into where he's safe, where he's alone, and he could just kind of be like, I just want to deal with what I've got here. I don't want to let anybody else in. You go do your thing. It's an incredible scene.
It is, man. That was one of my favorites right there.
Yeah.
My next favorite scene is when he gets kicked out of the restaurant. I don't know if you got anything before that.
So I have whenever Barry goes to work the next day. It's another stressful one. Whenever
Oh gosh.
whenever the forklift.
That's a
freaking-
bro moment.
Dude.
Yeah. So I just love the chaos.
I couldn't breathe.
Yeah, dude.
I couldn't breathe, man.
It doesn't let you up for a second.
Not at all.
But I just love the chaos and the stress of everything. The score, the whole time it's going to, it's like, like it's very percussive and.
Is that supposed to be part of the harmonia as well?
Yeah.
Part of the soundtrack has that in it.
Yeah, part of it has the harmonium in it, but it's an amazing score. It's composed by John Bryan. He did this score for Eternal Sunshine, and I think Lady Bird as well.
Okay.
He also did a lot of producing for a lot of indie artists like Elliott Smith and Fiona Apple and all those guys. But yeah, amazing score in this scene, and it really just amps up how stressful everything gets because stuff's going on at work, and then his sister comes in and brings Lena, and she's like, Lena and I are going to breakfast, do you want to come? And he's like, oh, I can't, I got stuff to do at work, I wish you wouldn't have just brought her here.
Seriously.
And he's like, well, we're going to breakfast and doesn't seem like you're doing anything, so you better come. And he's like, but I don't know if I can, I got stuff at work. And while he's going on, we haven't even talked about the phone scene.
Oh no, it's
that's
one of
just
my
a bro
favorite
moment.
scenes. It's one of my favorites.
Oh well, that happens before this.
It does. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll bring just for context.
Yeah,
I'll bring
bring
it
it
up.
up.
So, like Isaiah was saying earlier, he gets lonely and he decides. He's sitting at his house. All the lights are off. He closes the blinds and he calls one of those hotlines, right? And I really love this scene too because initially, when I went into this film, I didn't quite know. Like I didn't know his character, right? So I kind of thought that he was, had a disability or something. But he really is like showing his awareness when he's calling on the phone, and she's like, "Oh, honey, I could help you out. Just give me all your credit card information and your social security number and where you live and all this stuff." And he's really hesitant. He's like,
"Is this confidential?
Yeah,
like,
are you sure you need all this?
Yeah.
Like, what's going on here?" And he's closing all the blinds. He's like, I don't want them to know it's me. Call me Jack and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, he gives all the information up.
Yeah.
And they have a whole thing where, they take the information and then they hang up and they call you back.
Yeah.
And the stress.
That was stressful for the whole time waiting.
And they do it in real time too.
Yeah.
Me and Nick were like,
I was
we were
like,
he's not gonna get a call back.
Yeah, I was like,
and
he got.
It's credit fraud. Like, they know everything about him.
I really enjoy the way that they, when the call gets made, I really enjoy how they do it because like it shows like Barry on this. He sits down at this table and he's like on the left side of the screen and he sits there for a while and you just see the phone just sitting there and it's not ringing and he's just kind of waiting and waiting. And then right when it's about to call, the camera like moves and now he's on the right side of the screen and it's almost like there's an empty chair right here and it's like he's like speaking to somebody but it's just over the phone.
Yeah.
And immediately it's like immediately sexual.
Yeah, immediately, dude.
And he's like, she's like, "Oh, are you?
Hey, are you in your chonies?
Are you in your chonies? Are you touching yourself?" And he's like, "No, no."
Like he straight up just wanted to talk to someone.
Yeah, and it's very sad. It's very. You can just tell how lonely the guy is, right?
Yeah.
Because the whole time she keeps trying to steer the conversation back to, what he's paying for, and he's just kind of like, I don't want to do any of that stuff.
She's
I
like,
don't want that.
"Did you take your pants off yet?" He goes, "No."
Yeah. And
she asked a question and he even goes, "I don't think that matters right now."
Oh yeah.
Or like, I'm trying to think what was the question she asked.
I was
think
like, "What do
she
you
asked-
look like?" or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
She says, "Do you want to know what I look like or something?"
Yeah, and
he
he goes,
says, "It doesn't matter."
I'm not gonna see you. Like, we're just on
Yeah.
the phone. I don't know. I liked it. I think it was one of my favorite scenes only because it was really uncomfortable.
Yeah,
And it's one of those uncomfortable scenes where you just can't help but laughing.
yeah,
because-
and it's also necessary to the story.
It is. It's
Yes.
very necessary because since that she has all the information, she decides to.
She can call him back
blackmail.
anytime and blackmail him.
Yeah.
Exactly. He gets up to go to work the next day
It blows my mind.
and gets a call and he's like, "Oh, hey, Georgia, how you doing?" And she's like, "I'm doing good. Oh man, I'm so tired from last night and all this stuff." And he's like, "Oh wow, that's crazy. It's funny you called back." And she's like, "Yeah, hey, listen, because you're this successful businessman, I'm wondering if you could help me out with something." And he's like, "Okay, what?" And she's like, "Oh, I need help with my rent." And he's like, "Oh no."
Immediately.
Sorry, I
knows-
can't afford it.
Yeah, and he's like, "I don't know, I can't afford it." And she's all, "You don't even know how much it is." And he's all, "Well, how much is it?" And she's all, $750. And he's like, "Oh no, I can't afford that. I'm sorry. I apologize. That sucks that you're going through that." And she's like, "Okay, so do you want me to tell your girlfriend that
Immediately.
what we did last night and how you can't afford this and all this stuff and everything?" And he's like, "Oh no, you don't need to do that. Like, I'm sorry. Don't call back this number." And hangs up.
Yeah.
That's when it leads into my next scene when he goes back to work, and he's having all this stuff going on. He's trying to make sales. He's getting phone calls from customers, and then his sister comes in. She brings Lena. They're wanting to go out to dinner, go out to breakfast. He's getting calls for work, and then the lady starts harassing him. Georgia starts calling him at his workplace, and he gets upset. And he's like, "You're calling me at my workplace? You need to stop." And she's like, "Well, why don't I call your girlfriend next, and we'll find out, blah, 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 and all this stuff." And he's like, "I don't call this number again," and, hangs up. And, there's just all this stuff happening. And even while that's going on, like, all the workers don't know what they're doing. Like, a guy on the back with the forklift that was trying to, like, load a pallet, just drives with the forks up and just smashes into the wall. And, like, there's just all this stuff going on. And meanwhile, too, like, Barry's sister is just outing him for, like, everything.
him.
And she's like, "Why did you tell this guy, our brother-in-law, that you needed to see a shrink?" Like, in front of Lena. And he's like,
oh my
I
gosh.
never said that. He must have misheard me. I never said that.
Yeah, and Lena's just trying to be like, "Hey, let me just go pay for my car. Like, just deal with this. I'll be back. I'll be back." And she was like, "No, he's not weird. Get over it. Like, he's not weird. We'll just go and eat."
Yeah.
And the whole time, it felt like an Office skit. The Office, where all the guys are over there, and she was like, don't you need to go check on the guys? And he
Yeah.
gets up and looks and he goes, hey guys, you okay? Oh, they're all right. They're okay. I was like, what's happening right now,
Yeah.
dude? It
Yeah.
was, I think, very successful at giving us stress, but also finding humor to fit
Yeah.
in those little gaps.
Yeah. The same thing too with like her, the sister being like, "What's with all this pudding? Why are you wearing that suit again?" Like
Yeah.
just having all these
Man,
questions.
he's just
and-
trying to look nice.
Yeah, I love just how stress-inducing it is, and then I love at the end whenever they start to leave, and she's like, "I promise you, my brother's not weird. You probably don't even want to go out with him, and blah, 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 all this stuff." And then she kind of leaves him, and she goes back.
Dude,
Lena
that's the
goes,
scene I wanted to talk about.
Lena goes back, and is just like,
She's-
My
I want you
blood's
to-
boiling.
yeah, and he's like helping, clean up, and
up.
she's like, "I'm gonna have dinner later tonight. Do you want to come with me?" And he's like, "Okay, sure." And
Oh, no, I'm talking about a different scene. It's when she goes to pay for her car, the sister
when
goes,
sister comes
and the
back.
camera follows the sister, and
Mhm.
the sister looks pissed.
Yeah.
Unjustly, too.
Yeah.
So when she's walking back, like, she kind of looks like a Karen, where she's
Yeah.
like, let me talk to your manager. She's walking back, and oh my gosh, I was so upset with the sister. I was like, just leave him alone, dude. Let
Yeah.
him deal with work. Like, he doesn't need this right now.
Yeah.
I don't need this right now. Just
Yeah.
stop.
Yeah.
But it is wholesome how they end it with her coming back.
Yeah, and she's like, "I'm gonna have dinner later tonight. Do you want to come with me?" And Barry says, "Yeah, okay." And
Yeah.
she's all, "Okay. Do you want to pick me up maybe around 7:00, 8:00?" And he's all, "Okay, sure." They end up exchanging information. I think it's so funny too. Whenever he writes down her phone number and address, there's like, pictures of like almost naked women.
I brought that up to him. I
like,
said, "Bro, what is this? What is this?"
that's like typical
That's how you know-
warehouse behavior.
There's about- this is how you know you work with a bunch of guys in a
Yeah.
warehouse.
Yeah, and it's so funny that it's just that added detail. But she writes down her number and address, and that's whenever it gets into your next favorite scene where they go to dinner.
Yes, so they go to dinner, and they're having this nice dinner. It's a nice dinner, this nice restaurant, and he's talking to her, and she brings up. I'm trying to think what makes him upset.
So they're having dinner, and then they're having a good time, right?
They're having a
They're
really
talking
good
about
time.
they're talking about the pudding and all this stuff, and
Oh,
that's
is
that's
it
when
a secret pudding?
Yeah, she's like, "Is it a secret pudding I can't know about?" And he's all, "No, I don't want to tell too many people because I don't want it to get out." And that's when he
And he
says
tells
like,
her.
he's like,
He
"But
whispers
listen,
that
like,
ASMR too.
yeah, he was like, if you get pudding for like 25 cents a cup, and they're all individually barcoded, so you can redeem 500 frequent flyer miles every time, and then if you get an extra coupon, sometimes you can get up to 1,000.
Yeah.
You could really never have to fly anywhere ever again or pay for another ticket because you have all these miles saved up."
Mhm.
And she's like, "Oh wow, that's crazy." He's like, "Yeah, I don't want to tell too many people because I just don't want the word to get out, and then all these people take advantage of it and all this stuff." And that's when she starts to bring up one of the stories that she heard, but it's different than what the sisters had said at the party.
Mm-hmm.
And she had said that there was like she's like, "Man, your sister was telling me about how there was a family dog or something like that, and you got angry with it or something. You had a hammer in your hand and you threw it through the sliding glass door or something."
Yes.
And he's like, "Oh, I never did that. My sister's
She's a liar.
she's a liar.
Yeah.
She doesn't. Yeah, that
and
never
it's-
happened."
And I get why he's saying no.
yeah,
because,
it's 'cause he's embarrassed. He
he's
doesn't want
embarrassed,
to.
yeah.
He doesn't want to think about that stuff. He's,
And you don't want to tell your date like I'm crazy and I break windows when I'm angry.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Like
and
so-
you could tell he really likes the woman too. He wants to be like, I didn't do any of that stuff.
so basically, so that's happened, and he goes, "I gotta go to the restroom." And as soon as he goes in the restroom, I kid you not, it's just chaotic, and
He
he
just
just
goes, "Ah!" and just starts breaking everything.
breaking down every door, almost every stall.
He's trying to rip
He
the soap dispenser off. The wall.
He can't do it. And he's like,
It's so funny, and like again, like this movie's all chaos,
Yeah.
and then he comes back out and sits down like nothing's happening.
yeah, he
And
got
then-
it all out.
Yeah.
And then he goes, "I'm not crazy." That's all. Literally, he says that, and then
Yeah.
the waiter comes back and he goes, "Man, can I speak to you?" He goes, "Sure." They get up and go to a little secluded spot. I just got out of the restroom and you were the last one there, but everything's broken down.
Yeah, he said,
It wasn't me.
He said, "Did you beat up the bathroom?" And he's
No.
all, "No, I didn't do
No.
that."
And then,
He goes,
yeah,
your knuckles are bleeding, sir. How'd your knuckles bleeding?
I cut them. How'd you cut them? With my
He's
knife at the table.
It
And
was
then
so.
it's just so he's just talking like, "Oh man, I got caught."
Yeah.
But so eventually the guy's like, "Okay, like obviously we know you did it. We're not gonna do anything." but you gotta leave.
Yeah.
And then he goes to
He goes up to her. He's all, I don't like it here.
you gotta leave. And she's like, okay. And then I love it because this literally turns into my next favorite. Like, it runs in my next favorite scene. I don't know if I can talk about it.
Yeah, it's my next favorite scene whenever he walks her back to the hotel.
Walks her back to her house.
Oh, this is wholesome.
Oh, this is so... I told Nick this is so comforting and wholesome for me.
Yeah, for sure.
Because basically they go in, he takes her home, and then he's about to leave. And then as he's walking out of the apartment complex, the manager...
Well, even before then, she kind of gives him a kiss on the cheek, right? They hug. And,
yes.
You know, they're hanging out in her place for a little while. She gives him a hug and a kiss on the cheek, and then they leave. It's awkward.
Well, no, you even see her go for more, but
yeah,
she was
he
like,
kind of is just like,
he doesn't know. He doesn't know.
It's like the first kind of like his first. It's like his first love.
Yeah.
And so basically, would you say the apartment manager?
Yeah. She's like, are you Barry? And he's
dude,
all,
like not even wasting any time.
But immediately when I heard that, I told Nick, I said, bro, it's those brothers.
I thought it was Georgia. I straight up did.
I was like,
they lead
how
you to
do
believe
they know?
that. They lead
how
you
do
to
they know
believe
that he's there?
Yeah.
And
It's because it's not normal for someone to you just left to call them in the lobby.
Yeah.
Dude,
it's not natural.
If I went on a date and a girl was like immediately calling me around, I'm like, bro, I'm marrying you.
Yeah.
Now that I think about it, I feel like she's really attentive because when they were in the restaurant, he gets to talk is he starts talking about that radio host.
Yeah.
And he goes, I like this guy because he says it as it is. He's straight matter of fact to the point, and he doesn't like he cuts through all the bull crap.
Yeah.
And I feel like she
harnesses that.
Yeah.
And whenever she calls him, she says, when you left, I really wish that you'd kissed me.
Oh, see, that's
And-
it.
And he's like,
that's cool.
really?
Really? And this is so stressful because he literally just hangs up and runs and forgets where she lives.
Yeah, he
Essentially
goes the wrong
forgets where she
direction.
lives.
Does.
Yeah.
And I literally was yelling, 216, 216, 216. She's in 216. Knocks on the door, and they kiss.
Yeah, as soon as they open the door, it's like almost like old-timey Hollywood musical-esque where, the camera rushes in and they kiss one another, and it's like...
It kind of makes
you're
me
just
feel
like...
like...
It's very rewarding. Yes. You're just like, dude, let's go.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then so essentially they start hugging, and then he goes, I promise you I'm not crazy.
Yeah,
My
she's
sister's
like,
a liar.
I don't know what you mean.
And this is the part where I said it's so wholesome because he kept on saying, I'm not crazy. I'm not crazy.
Yeah.
And she was like, I don't know what you mean. And then after like the third or fourth time, he goes, I'm not crazy. She goes, it's okay.
Yeah.
And then just hugs him even more. And I said, bro, that's so wholesome. And that's all he needs is like that support.
Yeah.
And I was like, let's go. That's what he went. I was cheesing, dude.
Yeah, I love it because you can just tell that this new romance is really good for Barry. Despite everything that's happening in his life, this is his like point of solitude. It feels like, and he can just really let his guard down and let this person, be there for him, and he can really just rely on her. And it feels so rewarding and feels very wholesome, like we've said a couple times. And it's a beautiful scene, man. I smile from ear to ear whenever it happens, man. I'm just like, let's go.
Yeah. Oh man, my next favorite scene is a little farther down. It's when he calls the mattress place. So if you have anything before that,
oh, okay.
I have getting her number.
Yeah. So I have when Barry goes to Hawaii.
Hawaii. Okay.
And it's whenever he like is on the way there and he meets Lena there and stuff. But then my next one would be yours.
Okay. Well, yeah. Talk about Hawaii because that's crazy. I have it as a bro moment only because there's kind of like you need a little bit of context of why he decides to go to Hawaii.
Yeah.
And how he's trying to get there.
Yeah. So the context behind him even going to Hawaii is because Lena states that she's going to go there in a couple of days.
But then he even lies and goes, oh, I was thinking about going for a business trip.
Yeah, and he just wants to be near her. He wants to be around her. But he gets the reason to go whenever he leaves Lena's house, and he gets he
goes back home.
He goes back home and gets jumped by the four brothers. They kidnap him. They make him pull out $500 at an ATM. And I think it's so funny too. Whenever they pull it out, he's like, "This is as much as they'll allow me to pull out in a day." Like, are we good? We're square. And he's like, yeah, we're good. He's all, next time you want to be a pervert, make sure you know who you're messing with and blah, all this stuff. And the guy's like, okay, all right, I'm sorry. And the guy comes out and, is about to, he punches
goes,
him.
ouch, ouch.
Yeah, I thought it was so funny because, my brother Ashton used to do that.
No, I would do that
when
too,
we would,
though.
when we would, fight with one another.
Flinch before you even.
Yeah, he'd be like, ow, ow. And, I'd be like, I didn't even hit you yet. Or,
Yeah.
I didn't even mess with you yet. But it's so funny. He's like, guy's cocking back to him. He's all, ow, ow, ow.
And he gets clocked.
Yeah, he gets clocked hard.
Gosh.
And then, immediately just gets up and just starts.
Dude, I
Just
died
running.
laughing because you see him he's running, like you said, and you get to this, you see the road and then a bar fence, and you
Yeah.
just see him just dolphin
He
dive.
dolphin dives over
Yeah.
that thing.
But eventually, this gives him the reason to get out of town.
Yeah.
Right? Because he's like, I have these people after me. I don't know if they're going to come back. And so, goes to work the next day and is like, he's on the phone with the people and he's like, yeah, I want to redeem my frequent flyer miles. And they're like, oh, you have to wait 6 to 8 weeks. And he's like, I don't have 6 to 8 weeks. I need to redeem them now.
He's like, there's nowhere on the package that says 6 or 8 on it. You gotta help me now.
Yeah.
He goes, it's not in the fine print.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
he's
he's
like,
one that reads the fine print.
yeah. And the guy on the phone is like, that's our procedure. It takes 6 to 8 weeks to redeem them. And he's like, it says that nowhere. I need them now.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm sorry, I can't help you. And then, Lance comes in and he's like, hey, what's happening today? He's like, oh, I think I'm actually going to go to Hawaii. And he's like, you're going to Hawaii? Oh, great. That's awesome. You need a vacation. And he's like, yeah, I think I'm just going to go now. I got a couple of things to do. So, you just hold the fort up real quick. I'm going to go. And, just decides to get on a plane to Hawaii.
Yeah.
And I love that shot of him where, he's walking down the terminal and he's walking
cheesing.
real fast, and you just see his blue shirt
Yeah.
and the red outfits from the flight attendants, and he's just got his ticket in hand, and he's just ready to go. What were you gonna say?
I was just gonna say when he gets to Hawaii too, that soundtrack comes on, and what's the lyric? It's like
He needs me, he needs me, he needs me.
yeah. I was like, oh, this
Yeah.
is so fitting for the situation that's
Yeah.
going on right now.
I love it.
Yeah.
But he makes his flight over to Hawaii. He lands. He sees the palms and the night sky and everything. He's just kind of like, I'm really here. Like I really did this thing. This is crazy. And gets in a taxi and he's like, can you take me to where all the beaches and hotels are? I have no idea where I'm going. And takes him there. He gets on a payphone, and while he's on the payphone, he's kind of trying to figure out where Lena could possibly be. He has no idea, and he calls back home. And we get this shot of his sister answering the phone, and she's kind of like, oh, hey, Barry, what are you doing? And you hear all this background noise, and she's like, what are you doing? Where are you? And he's like, I'm in Hawaii on a business trip. Hey, could you give me the phone number to your friend Lena?
Why do you
And
need
she
Lena's phone?
starts hounding him and is like, why do you want Lena's phone number? I can't believe you're in Hawaii. Oh, this is so typical of you. Why do you need her phone number? What do you want your phone number for? Do you like her? Do you want to talk to her? And all this stuff. And he's just like, the whole time she's hounding him, he's like, listen, I just give me the number. You don't need to treat me this way. You're pushing me. You're killing me.
Yeah.
And eventually he cracks and he's like, all I want is her fucking number. He's like, oh, that should be good enough for her to give me the fucking number.
Dude.
And he just starts blowing up on her, and she's like, oh, okay. And he's like, you shouldn't treat me this way. I'll kill you. I'll kill you. You want that? And she's like, okay. I'll give it to you.
I was stressed with this scene as well because you're in a public. While he's on that payphone,
There's
there's
a
a parade going on.
Yeah.
It's in a public spot. There's so many people around him. If I would have heard someone yelling on the phone, I'll kill
I'd
you.
I'd be laughing.
I would be laughing.
Yeah, and
I'd be like, bro, there's something wrong with this guy calling cops.
Like, bro, like, get a room, bro.
seriously,
Or just don't.
you
like,
shouldn't be in public. with this, bro. And this was a funny scene, man.
No,
because
I think I was talking to you about it. Like, that scene makes you feel like, no, I'm talking something about out of context. Never mind.
Oh, okay.
Because
The first time I watched this movie and I saw that scene, I belly laughed, bro. Like I had to pause it because I was laughing so hard at how he reacts.
Yeah.
But the second time and the third time watching it, I come back with it. And I'm like, dude, tell her, bro. Like you need to tell her what's up because she's gonna
It's so
continue to do
deserving.
this, dude. And it feels very deserved because you're just like, stand up for yourself, dude. Yes, let's go.
Yeah.
she deserves to get yelled at like that.
Yeah, and I love it, man. It's just so funny too, like hearing somebody blow up on somebody, but trying to keep their composure.
Not somebody. It's Adam Sandler, bro. Did
Yeah.
you see him go like?
Yeah.
Like his face is getting all red.
Yeah.
Oh, dude.
I think Adam Sandler angry is just
It's funny.
hilarious
It's
to me.
hilarious.
Like one of my favorite Adam Sandler movies is Happy Gilmore. And there's a moment in Happy Gilmore that never ceases to make me cry laughing is whenever it's towards the end and he's like, find your happy place. And, his happy place is, it's this like golf course and there's his girl with beer and she's like in lingerie and his grandma has got all this money and there's a little person riding around on a tricycle and all this stuff and it's very funny and you're like, oh, this is this guy's happy place. He can hit really well when he's here. But at the end, it starts to get tainted with Shooter McGavin.
Yeah.
And he comes in and is just tainting everything and right at the end he starts to make out with his grandma and his grandma has the kiss mask on. And, his happy place gets tainted. So he gets so angry. He just goes, ah! It starts smashing. And I just die laughing every time because of how Adam Sandler just reacts when he's angry. It's just hilarious. But another thing I really love about this scene in Punch Drunk Love is, he gets the phone number, or we assume the phone number to the hotel, and calls the phone number to the hotel. And he gets connected to the wrong room at first. And it's this guy that answers. And he's like, hey, Lena, are you there? And this guy's all, you have the wrong room. And he's all, okay, sorry. Calls back and he's like, hey, I'm calling for Lena Leonard. I think you connected me to the wrong room. She's like, okay, one moment. And he's waiting a bit. And right when Lena answers, you see the phone booth light just kind of turn on. And then, the score at that moment is kind of, synced with the light. And it's kind of this like, ding, little kind of like a, I don't know how you would describe
like a buzzer.
Oh my, yeah, kind of like oh, you got the answer right, kind of.
Like oh no, I was gonna say Jeopardy, but no.
It's like this bell noise, and it synced with the light, and it's as soon as she answers, he's like, hey, how are you? I'm here in Hawaii, and you hear her get so excited, and she's like, oh, you are? Where are you? And
I love her.
He just
I'm sitting in my hotel.
I'm like, dude, how are you gonna tell someone to sit in the hotel when it's loud as heck outside?
Dude, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It's another one of those like Safdie moments where the parade's going on. He's having to hold his ears closed just to hear every single word. And they're talking about like really intimate stuff. And there's a parade going on.
Do you have a boyfriend?
She's all, no. And he's all, oh, when was the last time you had a boyfriend? She's all, 6 months ago. Do you have a girlfriend? He's all, no.
He's like, are you married?
Yeah.
Were you ever married?
She's all, yeah. He's all, oh, where are you from originally?
I know. She's like, do you want to just like meet in person? I was like, please.
Yeah. And then it goes into where they meet up at the hotel, and she's on one end of this foyer and he's on the other end, and they kind of reveal one
I kind of
another
love-hate this.
Oh, why?
And it's because it's like a typical Hollywood movie.
Oh, okay.
Where
they
like
meet
see
up.
each other. Yeah.
where they see each other, and like I just think about the song, the dun, 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 dun. Like when they're running.
Oh,
slow-mo.
but it's slow mo. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's like, but that's more for sports
I know,
movies.
I know, but that's what I think of.
Yeah. When they like hit a home run, it's like.
Dun, 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 dun.
That's so. That's not romantic.
Yeah,
I know, but that's what I think
That's
of.
Chariots of Fire.
That's like that's when I'm sitting eating popcorn, watching the ball fly. I'm not watching.
That's what I think of though, because they're just running to each other.
It reminds me of old timey Hollywood
For sure.
and having these, or like old timey musicals where you have this big reveal and the characters come back in and it's very romantic and sweet and wholesome.
But I still loved it.
Yeah, and I loved the character of Barry, like immediately trying to be respectful, and the last time just being like, he walks up there with an open hand, ready for a handshake, and
then
they kind of collide in one another. You hear them go, oh, and they just hug and they kiss, and it's just this silhouette shot of them just sharing a kiss, and there's all these people just walking by. The foyer's very busy, but they're sharing that moment with one another, and it's just a very wholesome scene, and I really enjoy just them just being there and being in that moment. And it's also a cute little moment too whenever they're interacting with each other around Hawaii. And he even says, man, it really looks like Hawaii around here. They go back to her hotel room, and they're kind of just walking. They're not touching or anything. And then he kind of just puts his hand out for for her to hold their hand. And then I love it kind of like zooms down in it. It follows their hands, and they're holding. And It's even funnier too when they start kissing, and she's like, your face is just so cute.
Dude, no, this is one of my favorite quotes, only because it's so abstract and random, and
the way I describe it, it's so icky.
It's funny. I laugh at it.
It's a very strange
on your cheek.
way to dirty talk.
Yeah, she's like, oh, your face is just so cute. I just want to take a bite of your cute little cheeks, and he's like, you're so beautiful.
And take out your eyeballs and eat them.
No, that's
next.
That's the next part.
Yeah.
He says like,
dude,
he's like, you're so beautiful. I just want to smash your face with a sledgehammer. And just, oh, you're so beautiful.
Bro, the next person I talk to, I'm going to be like, dude, you're so cute. I'm going to smash your face with a sledgehammer.
I was like, is this working? It's working because she's responding well.
She's like, you're so cute. I just want to scoop your eyeballs out, and
eat them and suck on them. And I was like,
and he's like, this is nice.
This is funny. This is nice. I was like, he finally found someone as weird as him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And she's completely accepting him for who he is.
Yeah.
Which was really wholesome. And it doesn't show what happens.
Yeah.
But it leads into a scene when they wake up in the morning and Lena's on the phone with, I'm guessing it's one of the sisters, right? And the sister's like kind of defending him a little bit. She's like, well, don't call him weird. I'm a sister. I can call him that and all that stuff. And, she's just like, staring at him and looking at him, and it's just so wholesome because she's not letting any of the outside factors
taint her view of him.
Exactly.
Yeah,
because those sisters say a lot of stories,
yeah,
right? And she's just so willing to accept him, which is it's really rewarding, really wholesome.
Yeah, but from there, my next favorite scene is yours. I don't know about you, Abe.
My next favorite scene is the car accident.
Yeah, so that's when he gets home.
That's a bro moment for me.
It's a big bro moment, but it's also
I do love it though.
I love it.
It's because it's another one of those moments where he stands up and he's like,
no, and I love when
so
he sees rewarding.
And I love when he sees that she's hurt.
That's what,
dude. I love that scene.
Yeah, he's immediately like, all right,
like I got to do
I'll
something.
get down to business.
So I love this scene because we get them together sitting at the terminal waiting to board the plane, and she goes, so can I come home with you? Basically saying I want to be with you.
Yeah,
and
he's
kind of
so like,
cute because
I already assumed you would.
Yeah. He goes, I thought you were.
Yeah.
Like, and I was like, oh, like that's so cute. So then we get them to go back home, and they're just driving, and then you see his garage open up, and then all you hear is boom, smack him.
Like
and I literally said, oh.
Yeah.
Like I was like, I was not expecting that.
Yeah.
And then we find out it's again the four brothers.
Yep.
Who are from that company or whatever.
Yeah.
Trying to mess him up, trying to get more money from him. And she looks at him, and again, like you said, you see the blood from her head's coming down, and that clicks in his mind like, you hurt my girl.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
F you up.
I'm gonna do something. He gets out, and all the brothers come out, and one guy has a crowbar and just hits him, grabs the crowbar, does some sick stuff with the crowbar, like there's dude, and just goes to town on these people, wrecks them.
Yeah.
And then breaks the window. There's one more brother in the truck, and breaks the window and just hands the crowbar back to him.
There's one guy in the back, he's just like takes
so
it. All
skittish. He's all
him.
like skittish. And I was just like, heck yeah, like you did it. They deserved it. And you protected your girl.
Yeah.
We fought for what was right.
Yeah.
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 And then it just leads us into the hospital. She's at the hospital.
Yeah. She goes to the hospital. She gets treated for her concussion, and he kind of slips away and goes back to his place of work and calls the place, and he's pissed.
This has got to be one of my favorite scenes.
It's one of mine too. I really love this scene. You want to go and break it down?
Yeah. So we didn't talk about it, but Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Yes.
He is the main head honcho of this furniture place that on the low key does that hotline business and stealing people's money.
Yeah.
So he
he's a dirtbag.
He's such a freaking dirtbag.
He plays a great one too.
But he goes back to his work. He gets on the phone. He calls. He's like, connect me to somewhere in Utah. He ends up getting to the mattress place, and it's Georgia.
Yeah.
But as someone else, she's like trying to connect people.
Yeah, she's the operator.
Yeah, she's the operator. And immediately he's like, I know you're Georgia. Like, I know what you're doing is wrong. Connect me to your manager right now. And she's freaking out. So she transfers him over to, I think his name in the film is
Dean.
Dean.
Yeah.
And immediately Dean is like, all right, man, shut the F up. Like, shut the F up and calm down.
Yeah. He's all, what's going on?
Yeah.
He's all, your men came to my house. They've been harassing me. They attacked me. they hurt me,
Uh-huh.
they hurt my girl, and you have no right like taking people's information and stealing people's money. And he's immediately like, shut the fuck up. That has nothing to do with me.
Yeah,
you
that's
know,
not
all
my
this
business.
stuff.
Yeah. And immediately Philip Seymour Hoffman's like, shut the F up. And he's like, Adam Sandler is like, you shut the F up. Oh, dude.
Yeah, and I love Philip Seymour Hoffman just going, shut up.
Yeah.
Shut up. Shut the fuck up. Shut up. Shut up. It's so funny, man.
What's the trigger word that he says too? He goes like,
Yeah,
effing die or something?
He says like,
Don't call me up.
he says something. He says something to Philip Seymour Hoffman. He says like,
Go
he
F
says,
yourself.
Go F yourself.
He said, did you just say,
Yeah.
oh, you just said go F yourself. You're dead, man. And he
Yeah.
hangs up the phone. And immediately I'm like, that whole interaction had
Yeah.
me laughing.
Yeah, it's funny too. Whenever he has the receiver in hand,
Yeah.
he just runs with it and he's just holding it still, and
Yeah.
he's straight up running.
I was like, dude, drop the phone, drop the phone. And you see the cord hanging behind him.
Yeah, he's just so in shock of like what happened. And he's just running, just holding the receiver the whole
Yeah.
time, and he travels to Utah.
All the way to Utah.
Yeah, he calls an operator and he's like, I need to find a mattress place. Give me the mattress to this mattress place in Utah. He travels to Utah. He's still got that receiver in hand. And I love this like slow reveal that like whenever he finally gets there, and you see like Philip Seymour Hoffman's getting his hair cut and he's getting shaved and stuff, and we showing him, and then we get this like slow reveal, and you just see him in the
With the
hallway
phone.
with the phone in hand, and he's just standing there, and he's like, I think he says like, do you know who I am, or something like that.
I don't know. I love
don't
this
know.
scene though because they get right up face to face with each
Yeah.
other, and he's like, I got nothing to lose. I'm stronger than you think I am. You messed with one of my loves.
Yeah.
And
That's
he's
your favorite quote.
Yeah, he says like, I have a love in my life. It makes me stronger than you could ever imagine. And he just kind of gets in his face, and he's like, what are you wanting from this situation? And he's like, I want you to lose all my information. I want you to give me my money back, and that's that. And he says, okay, that's that. And he says, you traveled all the way to Utah to tell me this? And he says, yes, I did.
he said, no cops? No.
And he's all right, that's that. He's all, okay.
He
Just
walks
off.
And then why does he do that, dude?
He goes back to try to get like the last word a little bit, and he's like, and you better not ever come back here, you freaking pervert. And he's all, what did I tell you? He comes back, and he's all, that's that, and just walks away real quick.
I was like, this dude, he's scared. He's
Yeah.
freaking terrified.
Yeah, it's so funny.
It is
I
very
loved
funny.
it.
Yeah.
My last favorite scene though is when Barry spills his guts to Lena towards the end, and he comes back and is like, I'm sorry, I left you at the hospital. I had to go take care of some stuff, and this is where I kind of teared up at the end here, because he's just letting her know everything. And he's like, listen, I lied about some stuff, and I get angry sometimes, and I cry a lot, but I'm sorry I wasn't there to be there with you at the hospital, but I had to take some care of stuff because people hurt you, and I don't ever want anybody to hurt you ever again. And he's like, I want to be with you, and if you could just give me like 6 to 8 weeks to redeem all of my frequent flyer miles, and whenever we can travel together, so that way whenever you go on business, I'll be able to go with you, because I never want to be anywhere without you. And that was where I like started to tear up a bit, and I was like, oh, this is so cute, it's so wholesome, it's very heartwarming, and she just kind of like shuts him up a bit, and they just kiss.
Well, yeah, she goes to say, you left me at the hospital, and then he goes, I'm sorry, it won't happen again. And then that's when you see them
the gap closes a bit, and they kiss one another, and it does another one of those kind of rushes in, and the orchestra swells in, and it feels very rewarding. And I just love him like putting everything on the table and being like, listen, this is everything that I am. I've lied about some stuff, and I'm sorry. This stuff won't happen again.
Mm-hmm.
If you could just give me some time, like I never want to be without you, and I love being around you. And she, it's like, okay,
Yeah.
I accept that. I love you. And they accept. They kiss one another, and I even love that ending shot too, where he's like in that warehouse playing the harmonium, and she comes up behind him and hugs him, and this like lighting kind of comes in on each other, and she just says, so here we go, and then it ends, and it's just a very rewarding.
I think it was a perfect way to end it.
Yeah, it's a very rewarding end to the film, and I just it's I don't know, I leave this film just being like, dude, let's go. I loved that. Every minute of it is just great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's my last one.
All right.
Yeah, that was mine.
Well, if that's it for the favorite scenes, let's get into some best quotes.
We hit a lot of mine. Barry, I'm a dentist. This is
Yeah.
the first one I started laughing at.
I have one, and I just said bye-bye.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, that's the first moment whenever they leave and he kind of gives her the kiss on the cheek.
Yes.
And he goes,
And I only
"Bye-bye."
said bye-bye because he tells her bye-bye. And then as he's
And
walking
he's so
away,
disappointed in
she's
himself.
like, bye-bye?
He's like,
And then he goes, bye-bye, you stupid mother.
Yeah.
And he
he's
goes,
like,
He's all
Bye-bye?
bye. He's all bye bye. You
stupid.
Just
mother."
starts-
it's like
keeps
he's like
cussing.
an idiot. Like, why did I say bye-bye like that? And
Yeah.
legit, he literally says bye-bye like a, how do I say it? Like,
almost like Markiplier.
yeah,
Yeah.
He's like,
yeah.
bye bye.
yeah. And it's just Nick watching it with Nick. We were just dying laughing because he was like, "Bro, he's just roasting himself."
It's
Yeah.
funny too. It's relatable, right? Like
Yeah.
I'm sure
I can't believe I
everyone
freaking said that.
has done that.
I've said bye bye to a customer before at my job, and I'm like, "Why did I say bye bye?"
yeah, or
Like,
everyone's done something where you walk away from it and you're like, why
That
did I
was
say
dumb.
that? What did I
I'm
do
a
that for?
freaking idiot. Why did I
Yeah.
say that?
Or like it kind of reminds me of like if you ever accidentally called the teacher mom.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know, like-
no, I
like-
got a worse story than that. And it,
Like I remember
Oh.
doing that one time and the teacher playing into it and being like, "Oh, okay, son." And
Really?
and I remember being like, "Oh,"
Oh,
like just
you want
being
me to tell you
so
something
your
worse?
soul
embarrassed.
leaving your body.
Yeah.
Just like,
I straight up was like,
Do you want me to tell you something worse? That's even worse than that.
you called someone daddy.
No, I went to the office and I said, "Hey, mom," and I gave him a kiss on the cheek to the secretary.
"Why?"
You couldn't stop yourself?
No, I was in 3rd grade.
Oh,
But I remember-
I thought you were in high school.
I
like,
wish.
I was
like-
I was in 6th grade.
I was like, bro, you're on autopilot.
Yeah.
No,
seriously.
I remember. I just got dropped off from the bus, and I went straight to the. My mission was to go say hi to my mom, and I don't know why. I believe my mom was at school.
Why?
I go
That's
straight in
so
the
funny.
office and I go in there and I said, "Hey, mom, give her a kiss on the cheek," and then she looked at me. She goes, "What are you doing?" Like I remember it because it's someone that I still talk to this day.
Oh, okay.
So that's why like it's funny to bring it up.
That
But
is funny.
Yeah, I could definitely be you after would be like, oh, you stupid mother. Why did I do that?
Yeah. I whenever I had said my little story, I immediately thought of you've seen that meme where it's from Avatar and the Avatar the character is like rolling out of the plane and it has that song playing where it's like and he's like falling out of the plane. He's just all like rolling out
I
of the
don't know
plane.
what you're talking about.
That was me. Whenever I called the teacher mom because my soul just let my body go so dying. But yeah,
I
it's
wish you said "mommy."
hilarious. I think we've talked about all of my best
I have
quotes.
one that I thought
Yeah,
that
I have one more as well.
it's from Lena actually at the dinner. She just goes, "People are just crazy in the world, I think."
Yeah,
And it was just something that like yeah.
it makes him feel heard.
Yeah.
For sure. One of my last favorite ones that I laughed at, other than the ones we've talked about, is that scene when he's in the restaurant. He goes to beat up the bathroom and he gets out. The dude's talking to him. He's like telling him to leave, and he's like, "Oh, sir, come on, can I please stay here, sir?" Like, and the sir's like, "I'm gonna call the cops, sir. You need to leave. Get out of here. Like, you gotta go." And then he goes, "Oh, can I just stay here?" And then he goes, "Sir, I'm gonna crack your effing head open. Get out of here." And I was immediately caught off guard because he didn't seem like the kind of guy to make threats like that.
Yeah.
And also the use of the language here.
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah,
I was like, I'm gonna
It
crack your.
catches you off.
It did.
Yeah.
It caught me off guard, and I laughed.
it's hilarious.
Yeah,
We've talked about the whole "shut up" thing, but that is one of my favorite quotes.
for sure.
It's hilarious, and if anyone ever does that, I'm like, I punch drunk love. I know what you're talking about.
Yep.
If that's it for best quotes, let's get into some bro moments, which I feel like there
I
are
have
quite
a
a lot.
lot.
For sure.
Dude, my first one is the crash at the beginning.
Yeah, it's very, very sudden, and
literally-
just out of nowhere.
I think 2 or 3 minutes in.
Yeah, it jump
If
scared.
that, yeah.
It's a jump scare almost. Like you just see these cars driving, and then all of a sudden,
I was
car
so
flips. And
shook.
thing comes, cab comes by. They drop off this harmonium and just drive off, and you're kind of like,
What was that?
"What the heck just happened,
The
dude?"
heck- Is it real? Did it really happen, or is
Yeah.
this in his mind? I don't understand what's happening. Right?
Yeah,
Well, then a little bit on just talking about that scene real quick. The next day, he goes out to see that piano is still there, and then he picks it up. And I told Nick, I said, dude, they never cleaned up this car accident. If you look
still
at the road,
glass everywhere.
still,
That's how I knew it was real.
Yeah.
Because you still see the evidence of it.
Yeah, I didn't even know if it was the next day. I think it was just a few hours later.
You think
'Cause
so?
It was really early in the morning. Like it was like sunrise.
Mm.
And then he comes back out and it's kind of like, morning time.
I thought it was sunset for some reason.
Yeah, I just think he was he got to work early to ask about all that pudding. And then a couple hours later he walks out there, that harmonium's still out there, and kind of just walks to it, is looking at it. And
dude, the way he walks sometimes in this movie, especially, I'm thinking about like close to the end of the movie when he takes Lance to get all that pudding. He's just
all
dancing.
dancing.
Oh, dude, that's one of my promo.
I love that.
I do love it too.
I think it's amazing.
Yeah, but mine's also the car crash. It's very unexpected. It's also a bro moment too for me whenever Barry smashes the sliding glass doors.
Yeah.
Because they talk about it the whole time, and you're kind of like, oh man, like, are we ever gonna see it? And when it finally happens, you're kind of like, oh dang,
That's a lot of money.
Yeah, he actually did it, dude.
That's probably a good like 300 each door.
Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my next one was just him giving all of the information to the lady on the phone.
Oh yeah,
Because he was like,
dude, oh my
is this
God.
necessary? She's
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, can I get your social? Just
I
ask.
noticed it.
I
I
was
was
like, what?
And he's all, is that really necessary? And she's all, oh well, I just needed to confirm your credit card with the bank and all this
Bull
stuff.
crap.
And he's like, are you sure? Really? And she's like, yeah, it's needed to verify your information with the banks and
Yeah.
credit card company. And he's like, okay.
And he does.
Gives it to her.
My next one is a little bit right after that. Is when Georgia calls, and instead of calling him Jack, says Barry.
Oh, does she?
Yeah, she says Barry, and then switches
Wow.
back to Jack.
I didn't notice that.
She
So
does.
I heard it, cause she was like, it was really when she says something really provocative, saying, when she, I don't know if she says, are you touching yourself?
Oh, okay.
But she says, are you touching yourself, Barry? And I said, Nick, she just said Barry.
Yeah.
Oh.
And he was like, what do you mean? I said, he said to
Call her Jack.
call him Jack.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, she says Jack again, and then she says Barry again. And I was just like, oh.
I didn't notice that. That's
yeah,
interesting.
I was just like,
It's very interesting. My next bro moment, other than him calling that line, is whenever Georgia asks him to help with the rent.
dude, I straight up said, bro, George is a scam artist.
Yeah, and it was an immediate bro moment because she just tries to manipulate him afterwards.
Yeah.
And, he lies and says, oh, yeah, I have a girlfriend and all this stuff. And she's like, okay, well, maybe I can call your girlfriend and ask her for the rent since you just don't have any money. And, since you lied to me about being a successful businessman and all this stuff. And he's like, that's not going to happen. Don't call this number. And, all this stuff.
Yeah, ridiculous. My next one would be the dolphin diving as he's running away.
Oh, okay.
It almost turns to a thriller because he goes down a halt, like an alleyway, and you hear the truck going.
Yeah.
And he's running. He's in there. He ends up going back dolphin diving. And one of the bro moments too is he's running, and the truck pulls up next to him,
Yeah,
and he
they're
goes,
all,
"Why are you running? We know where you live."
Yeah, he just kind of stops and is like, oh,
Yeah, I was like,
crap.
Yeah,
Yeah.
kind of true.
Yeah. That's funny. We've talked about destroying the bathroom, which is a bro moment for me.
Mm-hmm.
I put down another bro moment whenever we find out it takes 6 to 8 weeks to redeem the flyer miles. And it was a bro moment for me because it's so funny how angry he gets and he punches the wall.
Mm-hmm.
And this was the bro
self-love.
moment for me because I never really noticed this until then.
How does he get it?
It's stylized obviously.
Oh,
but-
okay.
But he punches the wall and is just so upset, and then he goes and puts his hand down on the harmonium, and the little like cut like that that happens on his
Dude.
knuckles from punching the thing spells out love.
I thought I was going crazy because I saw that and I was like, that looks like letters.
Yeah.
It's like, what's happening here? I was like, does it really say something? And when I read that
Yeah.
fact, I was like, dude, I'm not crazy.
Yeah.
Okay.
I loved that. It was something I never noticed.
I
until
read the
this
fact, but I
watch.
didn't notice it.
Yeah, so funny thing about the Criterion collection portion of this, I never noticed it. And whenever I saw it, I was like, it says love on his knuckles. That's so smart. That's such a cool little detail. I never noticed that. And I went and looked through the booklet, and it has that still where he's like, he has his hand out and it just says love across his knuckles. And
I just looked it up on Film Grab.
yeah, it's very cute, very wholesome. The last one that I have is when Barry and Lena come home and they get wrecked into.
Yeah, the last one was like the car accident.
Yeah. But any other bro moments for you guys?
No, that's it for me.
That's it for me.
All right, let's talk about some facts then.
Yeah, let me hit you with the budget. And this is kind of sad, actually.
Okay.
So it took about $25 million estimated to film. Opening weekend, it made $367,000. Gross in U.S. Canada made $17.8 million, and worldwide only made $24.6 million.
Ah, so almost.
Almost.
Almost there.
Yeah.
That's why,
To
and
make it its money
I think
back.
this movie deserves so much more
Yeah.
because
Well, one of the things too, I think the time that this had come out, Adam Sandler had just come off of like making like some pretty big hits, like Big Daddy,
and that's what I was gonna say. I was
Little
maybe
Nicky, and
But it's
you know,
all comedy, right?
Yeah,
I
he was
gonna say
doing
maybe it's because he
doing a
didn't have
lot of
comedy.
exactly. He was doing a lot of comedies, and it was very like, you know, he was doing big box office numbers with those movies. So it was kind of a like
shocker.
a curveball for a lot of people to be like, oh, he's in this like art house movie
Mm-hmm.
that, you know, with some director that we don't know. You know, it's not just Adam Sandler. It's not an
Yeah.
Adam Sandler movie. He's acting in it. What? You know, it was kind of strange, but this is interesting as well because the renowned film critic Roger Ebert, this is one of his only Adam Sandler movies that he actually liked. Like he was very harsh on Adam Sandler's comedies, you know.
I could see
Understandable,
why. Yeah.
understandable. You know, comedies aren't meant to be taken too seriously, but he truly did love this movie and Adam Sandler's performance, and was like, I mean, I wish he would do more like this because he's actually a very talented actor.
Sure.
He was great in this.
Mm-hmm.
Very funny.
That's why we get Uncut Gems.
Yeah, I think he just blows his performance here out of the water with
Yeah.
Uncut Gems.
Keeps
man.
elevating
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah. So that was
That was the budget.
The budget. I have a one. You were kind of alluding to it earlier about what this film was, based around.
Mm.
So the subplot with the whole pudding and all that stuff was inspired by an article in the Times Magazine about, his name is David Phillips, a University of California civil engineer who stumbled upon a lucrative frequent flyer promotion. This kind of blows my mind. He purchased 12,150 pudding cups of Healthy Choice pudding for just $3,000, and he accumulated, just like Adam Sandler was saying, 1.25 million air miles.
And
That's
so
insane.
I
man.
was reading that.
12,000 cups.
You'd never have to pay for
Yeah,
a
so
flight.
I looked
Never.
him up on Wikipedia, and I know Wikipedia, but it actually earned him a lifetime gold status where he never has to pay for a flight for certain airlines.
Yeah, I figured.
That's crazy.
For a life.
What do you do with 12,000 pudding cups, though?
Man, donate those.
Yeah, or donate them, or
put them in a pool and start swimming in it.
That's all you can
Doomsday
do.
prepper.
Yeah.
Put
Oh,
'em in
seriously.
put them in a shelf or something, man. It's crazy.
Yeah, it blew my mind when I heard that.
That happened
number.
in 1999.
Really?
Yeah.
1999?
I think it said 1999.
That's relatively close because it came out in 2002.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah. One of the facts I have here is actually one of the ways that a specific scene was filmed, and so there's a point in the phone scene where Adam Sandler's in his home, and at this point in the movie, he's being followed by a Steadicam as he talks on the phone, and there's a part where he goes to sit on the couch, and the camera almost looks like it gets kicked, and the camera goes like boom, and goes back down, and it kind of like looks down over at Barry.
Oh.
So this was actually done on accident at first. They did a couple takes, and during one of the takes, the front of the camera had accidentally bumped into the table, and it knocked the camera briefly, causing the shot to jump up from Sandler to an image that was out of focus. And then it quickly readjusted.
Oh.
And Paul Thomas Anderson loved that effect, it being an accident and all, and he wanted to do it again. So the way that they tried to recreate it, they did a couple more takes, and just at the right time, at a certain point of the dialogue, they would smack the front of the matte box on the camera to reproduce the effect.
Oh.
So that there's a point where it does look like the camera gets like kicked or something, and it goes like woo and goes back down.
I gotta
But-
notice that.
But he,
Did it on
loved the way
purpose?
that it looked, and decided, oh, we got to do that actually.
That's
yeah.
pretty cool.
That is pretty cool.
Yeah. Wow.
I have one that's kind of crazy and makes me think about how would it turn out. But Sean Penn was originally going to play Dean Trumbull.
Which is insane. I don't think he could have done it.
I don't think he could have done it.
Philip Seymour Hoffman is just perfect in
He's
this role.
the sole reason why I like Mission Impossible 3. I will say that. It's Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Because I think of Sean Penn in the first movie that I think of Sean Penn.
Mystic River.
What?
Okay, continue.
I Am Sam.
Oh, okay.
Oh. I Am Sam.
He would later go on to be in a Paul Thomas Anderson movie with Licorice Pizza.
Last year, 2021.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you think Sean Penn could have done
No,
it justice?
no.
I mean, maybe he does. He gets pretty wild. I could see him like acting crazy, but I just think that Philip Seymour Hoffman just embodies the role and he kills it. He's one of my favorite parts of the whole movie.
Yeah.
Like,
he's got that demeanor about it. I just love.
You see Philip Seymour and Sean Penn compared him. I just think about the scene. Philip is like a big dude.
Yeah.
I think, and anytime it sounds bad, but anytime I think of a business owner, I always think of a big dude.
Okay.
Like, and then I see Sean Penn as a business owner. I'm like, no, it won't work out.
Okay.
That's the way I thought about it.
He does look like a sleazeball though.
Yeah.
Like he would run.
He looks
that
like
kind
a
of
dirtbag,
business.
man. He's wearing like a puka shell necklace, a blazer with like a, he's got like the tank top under a wide open, button-up T-shirt tucked into some jeans. And he's got his hair like slicked back, and he looks like a dirtbag.
Yeah, he looks like a dirtbag for sure.
The other fact that I have here is in regards to Paul Thomas Anderson creating this film. He deliberately wanted to make a very different film after the weight and the very heavy subject matter that came along with his previous film Magnolia. And he felt that he had reached a dead end with his previous multi-character movies, that being Magnolia, and then his previous one being Boogie Nights. And he wanted to subvert critics' expectations of his films. So he decided to go in the completely opposite direction and make this one.
Oh, I see why he did the choices that he made.
Yeah.
Because it's very unorthodox.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I have one that's really interesting. So the working titles of this film: Punch Drunk Knuckle Love. Too many syllables.
That's bad.
Just Desserts.
Maybe
Alluding to the pudding, kind of.
But that feels like a romantic comedy, like cliche.
Just Desserts. It doesn't capture.
No,
it doesn't capture. The last one being the X4 Project, which I'm not sure what they're going for there.
I have no clue.
One of the facts
that straight up seems like Contagion or something.
Yeah,
like
serious.
It seems like a science movie or something.
The X4 Project, man.
It sounds like a movie that you get like based off Area 51, like.
Or it seems like a movie that'd be like synthetic people and like humanoids and robots and stuff or something.
Do you know what
like
I saw on
don't know.
Instagram? It's super off topic, but I just gotta bring it up. Did you see? They're saying that they found like a alien doorway on Mars, like that the rover found it. Dude, I have to show you guys. That's
All
what.
right.
That's
I have
what
to see
makes-
that. You see that like that full green suit alien just going.
Dude, dude, from Howard the Alien.
Yeah, going.
I could see.
The only other fact I have here is the whole cast actually created a commercial for the mattress store.
What?
Are you serious?
Yeah, it's on the Criterion Collection supplements
Oh, I didn't.
thing, but it's super funny. I'll pull it up on YouTube afterwards. But it's essentially Philip Seymour Hoffman walking on top of the store, and he's just playing a guitar. There's no noise coming out from it, and he's like, "Yeah, come on down to D&D's furniture mattress sale. We've got tons of mattresses. You'll never have to get another mattress again. We got deals." And he's just strumming this guitar, and he like hops down, and there's like a semi truck like down here, and then there's like this like almost like Cadillac Coupe de Ville right next to the semi truck, and then there's like 4 mattresses stacked on top of the Cadillac, and he jumps off the semi truck.
Tell me he falls.
He jumps off the semi truck onto the mattresses and then bounces off onto the concrete, and then he's going, oh, and just like kind of stays there for a little bit. He breaks the guitar, and then the camera's just staying there the whole time, and then the cast all comes out and they're like, "Oh, are you okay, dude? Are you okay?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'm fine. Did we get that take?" It's super funny.
I would love to see that.
I'll have to bring it up.
Wow.
If that's it for facts, though, what didn't work for you guys?
I want to put one thing down, and it's something that I brought up to both of you guys. At some points of the movie, I just found myself asking, like, what in the heck is happening?
Me
Okay.
too. Yeah, me too.
And that necessarily just, like, it kind of took me away from the movie just because I was like, I'm trying to understand the movie. Like, but there's just so much happening.
Okay.
I was just like, what the hell? Like, what was that for?
Okay.
Like, I was just trying to piece it together.
Mm.
But necessarily, it's not bad.
Okay.
Because I still liked the movie a lot.
For sure.
But I just found myself, I was like, what was that for? Like the car accident in the beginning. Like,
Yeah.
what in the heck was that for?
Yeah. So I had read a quote from Paul Thomas Anderson, and his like whole mantra for his films is that the randomest thing will always happen. And so he puts a lot of things in his movies that just happen unexpectedly, and sometimes they'll either get explained or sometimes they won't. My sort of understanding, or at least my interpretation, I should say, with like the car crash and the harmonium being dropped off and everything.
Oh my gosh.
I think the car crash kind of signals Barry being, we from the first couple of minutes in the film, we recognize that Barry is very standoffish. He's timid. He doesn't want to leave his comfort zone, right? Whenever he sees that thing, he, kind of just stands by and goes back to where he's comfortable, goes back to his office. And then, it's a little later in the day. He, sees her car walking up. He kind of doesn't really want to talk to her. And he's like, oh, they don't open until 8:30. Yeah, I don't know. I shouldn't really do that. Okay, yeah, you give me the keys. I'll tell him. And, she ends up leaving. And he kind of, is sitting there for a little while. And, all the while, Barry longs to be known, and he longs for, affection from other and for someone to truly understand him. But he's so comfortable in, being a recluse and not, having his guard up. And so, like, whenever he goes to hide back behind the wall and just kind of sits there for a bit and is like breathing.
Mm-hmm.
I think that crash happens because it sort of like signifies that there's about to be a drastic change or a chaotic thing that's going to happen in Barry's life. And it's almost like a symbol, right?
Yeah.
Like he sees just this random crazy thing happen. And, once that happens and once the harmonium gets dropped off and he decides to take it, he immediately gets put onto that journey. Had he not taken any of the harmonium, or had he not experienced that car crash or anything like that, he probably would have just continued to act out and do what he continued to do. But because he decided to take that stuff and decided to actually break out of his comfort zone and get curious and wonder what's going on, he changed his life. And he immediately ended up breaking out of his shell and finding the love of his life.
Yeah. I'm like you, Abraham. I really enjoyed the film. When it ended, I was like, oh, man, I like that. I don't really know why I like that, only because there's like so much that never really gets brought up. And I kind of feel like it's not a really friendly first-time watcher. You know what I mean? Because you sit there, and if you're anything like me, I'm trying to analyze what each thing represents in this guy's life, and it almost seems like just things just get thrown at you, and there's so much chaos, and it's really difficult to pay attention to certain things and know what is kind of, I don't want to say red herring, but they were kind of red herrings to me only because I never felt like I would be able to understand the film in the film. You know what I mean? Like I saw that the harmonium was there. I didn't quite understand what it was for. I kind of just figured, okay, this is like Barry's object. This is what he's just messing with to stay sane a little bit. And other than that, I was like, okay, I have to let this go, otherwise I'm going to drive myself crazy because this film is breakneck pace, and if I stick to one thing, I'm going to miss so much other stuff. And I feel like there's a lot of those moments where I was like, how do I interpret this scene? Do I just let it go through, or do I pay attention to this part of it and hold on to it for later? And I was trying to compartmentalize a lot of things in my mind. Yeah. And I was kind of getting a little overwhelmed because I was like, so much stuff is happening. It was difficult. Okay. But I ended up enjoying it all the more anyways. Yeah. But it's one thing where I was like, I wish there was like a little bit more predictability, just a little bit more. Like I don't know what's going on here. Okay. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I can understand where you guys are coming from. I mean,
and
to
maybe
this
it's
day,
just
like
because it's the first watch.
Yeah, no, it's definitely because of the first watch.
Because I'm 100% down to watch this movie again.
Yeah, I can understand what you guys are saying too. Because I mean, to this day, I think the harmonium and the use of it and the symbol is just. I really do think it's just up to interpretation. Yeah. It kind of gets brought up and it's kind of like, whatever you think it is, that's what it is. Yeah. And it's it has a meaning to PTA, but he's not going to tell anybody.
No,
you know, he's going to be like, no, this is what it means to me, and that's mine. You know, you decide what it means to you.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of what he's going for right there. That's why it specifically isn't ever brought up. Me personally, I think Lena plants it. I think, you know, and the only reason I think this is because she previously, you know, tells Barry that, you know, hey, I've been hanging out with your sister, and she showed me a picture of you guys, and I just knew that I had to meet you. And so it feels like she's almost trying to like bait him, right? Like
she does with the car.
She does it with the car, and then she also I believe plants that harmonium, and you know, does it with the car, and she's like, I'm gonna do anything I can to try to meet this guy. And you know, if it's not gonna be with the car, then it's gonna be with this harmonium, and if it's not gonna be with either, then you know, I'm just gonna insert myself and be like, hey, let's go to dinner, you know. And I think that she does it for a reason, just because she's just so infatuated with this guy and just wants to get to know him.
Okay.
Yeah.
Another thing I kind of got stuck up on was the actual title. What do you think it means? Like, what does it mean?
So punch drunk is an actual term.
Okay,
for
I don't know this.
For boxers that I'd actually read this today. Let me pull up the actual meaning real quick.
Truly interested because I broke up the words individually and I got solely focused on drunk.
Yeah.
And I kind of
took
that into a whole different context because...
So punch drunk means to be stupefied by or as if by a series of heavy blows to the head.
Oh. And it would be, so punch drunk, love. That is, so it's like...
He's like, you know...
The adjective of love.
Yeah, it's, you know, you're being blinded by... all of this stuff that's happening because you're so infatuated with that person. You know, it's punch drunk. You know, you don't really know what's going on, but you know you love the person.
That makes a lot more sense.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, punch. It's got to do with like anger issues. Drunk. I immediately was like, because it's so...
You know when I thought I was drunk is those scenes that have all those vibrant colors that just shows up.
Oh, okay.
That's one of the things that work for me. It's so cool.
Yeah. So do you guys have anything else that didn't work?
No, that's it.
Okay. Well, do you want to get into it?
Let's do it. Yeah, let's talk about this scene.
Yeah, so I'll just hit off the beautiful cinematography first. I love those transitions because it brings up these very important colors of blue and of red. And, you know, it shows the two, like, colliding with one another and meshing. And
it's beautiful.
And it is. It's beautiful. And I almost think of it as, like, moments where, you know, kind of like this, like almost like maybe like the universe is like working to try to get these two to fall in love with one another. So it's showing the, you know, the red and blue colliding with one another, and then it eventually starts to meld into purple. And you know, there's still parts where it's red, there's still parts where it's blue, but they are showing parts where there's molding and you know, turning into purple and all this stuff. And I also do want to say too, the use of color just in this movie is just awesome. I love the contrast of Barry's blue suit and Lena almost always wearing red.
Mm-hmm.
I love those lens flares.
I was going to say that's the next thing I wanted to talk about.
There's a lot of like blue lens flares and red lens flares, and you know they meet like sometimes with one another, so it forms this like almost like orangish purple, and it's super cool, super stylized, and I think it really highlights the film.
It's so visually interesting. Yes. And the transition scene I'm talking about, I described it as like the Netflix intro logo.
Yeah, where
you know when you like
go into the
and it has all of the like the beams of light, a bunch of different colors intermeshing with each other.
Yeah,
it's kind of like how it looked. Yeah. Honestly, I enjoyed that cinematography. We talked about the colors, all of it being, you know, majority like a blue cold hue.
Yeah.
To it, and having the different colors of the outfits, I thought was awesome. Talk about acting, of course. I loved.
Oh, yeah. It was across the board, I think.
Across the board.
Great acting from everybody involved, especially Adam and Philip.
Yeah, for sure.
I really love the story.
Yeah.
I think this is like, for me, it's like a love caught off guard. Like, this is a love that he did not know, that he didn't suspect of.
Yeah, and one of the things I really like about the story is it's extremely simple.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it is a very simple premise, but you get a director who really understands these types of movies and is like, all right, but what can I do to add my own flair to it?
Yeah.
And he takes this entire like almost genre film of like a romantic comedy and is like, all right, but now this is what I think a romantic comedy is.
And it works.
And it works, I think, perfectly.
Yeah, for sure.
But that's something that I really enjoyed, and I know I usually don't talk about stories, but this is one that I really enjoyed.
Yeah, I think to kind of play off yours a bit, I think this movie has amazing writing.
Yeah.
The dialogue in this movie is great. Like the acting in this movie is awesome. I also really love like the camera movements and the way things are shot, and like all those things have to be detailed out in writing, or else people don't know what to do. People don't know what to shoot. People don't know what to say. They don't know how to act. And I think that's just really that's the byproduct of great writing. There's super wholesome moments in this movie. There's hilarious moments in other parts of the film. There's super sad parts. There's moments where it's stressful. It's exhilarating. Like it's got a lot, and I really
love that it puts you through different emotions. It's just like you said.
It does. Yeah, he uses different techniques where it's like, you have a stable camera, shaky camera, and then the soundtrack coming in and kind of throwing you off your stability and having all the characters talking. It's really kind of immersing you into this character of Barry, and to feel exactly what he's feeling, and it truly made it feel real.
Yeah,
and that's something I really appreciated. Something I didn't expect to get from this film would be to emphasize with this guy and kind of feel what he's going through. I thought it was really effective for me.
Yeah,
Paul definitely knows what he's doing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And it works.
Yeah. I also really love the score by John Bryan. It's very percussive and jittery and like hyperactive almost, but then there's also points where it's very lush and orchestral, and that song he needs me, he really needs me. It's actually a twist on a song that is sung in the live action version of Popeye. And do you know who's singing that version right there? It's Shelley Duvall from The Shining.
Bruh.
Wendy from The Shining.
Yeah, Shelley Duvall.
She's singing, "He needs me, he needs me."
I didn't know. Did she do that just for this, or was she an actual singer?
No, so she did it for Popeye. She was in Popeye, and she was in Popeye with Robin Williams, who played Popeye.
What the heck?
You never know that?
I knew
Robin Williams, but now thinking about Shelley Duvall.
Does he have like the little anchor?
Yeah,
he does.
Yeah, you have to watch. You have to look it up.
You have to see him with his chin sticking out.
It's
a movie.
Yeah, it's live action.
Popeye's live action movie.
But it's taken from that film and used in this one, but it's kind of recontextualized, and it's again really great. Composing and stuff like that from John Bryan. I really do.
It's so I can actually see it though. It actually works.
I
would never think that Robin Williams would look like Popeye, but he truly does.
But they make him look like him. Yeah.
Look, he's got the beefy arms and everything.
Yeah, he's got the big old forearms.
The biggest freaking forearms.
And then Shelley Duvall, she plays a perfect. I think what's her name? I think her name's Wendy or something.
No, it starts with an I. It starts with an I.
Is it? I don't know exactly. I'm not up to speed on the Popeye lore.
Olive.
And I said I.
Olive. It's Popeye and olive oil.
Oh, okay. There we go. All right. Anything else that did work for you guys?
I think this movie is rewatchable. Like, I can rewatch it in like 2 weeks and still be okay with it.
Yeah, I agree. I think this movie is very rewatchable.
And
I
think this is. I wouldn't say like necessarily an easy watch, but I think it's a watch that a lot of people can understand.
Okay. I think
that makes sense.
Yeah, and one of the things that I think really is rewarding on a rewatch is you pick up a lot of things.
And I think that's what I want to do is because, like I said, I noticed the berry. I noticed the girl in the back. Like I want to know if I can see more things. Now.
Yeah, a lot of cool stuff in this movie that is it feels much more rewarding on a rewatch.
For sure, it's definitely unique. I will give it that. It's something I truly did not expect.
Yeah, it has a style all its own. And I think that also just comes with the amazing direction from Paul Thomas Anderson. He really knows how to create a movie. Who wins this movie for you guys?
I put Adam.
Yeah, I did too.
Think so, Adam?
Yeah, I put Adam Sandler.
Yeah, Adam Sandler. I agree with you guys.
It's a big toss-up between him and Philip. Because I really
I love his deliveries, man. It's so good.
I really do like Philip Seymour Hoffman as well. What are some themes for this movie?
I don't know. This might sound dumb, but I put that little but scary step can mean so much more than you think.
Okay. Yeah, I wrote something kind of along the same lines as
Yeah.
I had essentially said conquering the fear of being vulnerable.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Well, yeah, like, and what I mean is, like, that little step was opening up to someone,
Yeah.
and look what that got him.
Yeah. Exactly.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Once you conquer that fear of vulnerability and really confiding in somebody and leaning on them, it frees you from so much.
Yeah.
And it changed his whole life.
Man, it reminds me of that one thing we were talking about in movies prior. I can't remember exactly which one, but it was like, if you rely on yourself, like the things you think that are good for you are really what's like isolating you.
Yeah.
Wholesome, like holy.
Mm-hmm.
And it really reminds me of this because he's struggling with loneliness. But every time, he wasn't going to go and meet her. He prefers to be alone, but that's truly what's keeping him from flourishing and from, finding the love that he truly deserves from Lena, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of like it was his own what he thinks is good for him, like his own isolation.
Yeah.
But taking that step, I think, really helped him.
Yeah. Another thing that I had written down was just finding solitude in another person, and I kind of said it already, confiding in that person and leaning on them. I think it's really important, especially for Barry's character, that he just found somebody that understood him and is willing to.
Yeah.
I think it's very important to find somebody that wants to do that. You can have family that does that stuff, but they're kind of like almost required to do it because they're your family.
Mm-hmm.
When you find somebody who is like, I'm willing to do that stuff for you, I'm willing to put up with your crap, and I'm willing to learn about you and to put in the work into this relationship and do all that stuff. That's something special.
Yeah. It's almost like a call to action, because it's like,
Yeah.
if you don't have that person, then be that person.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Because
Mhm.
look at the beauty that comes of it.
Yeah, exactly.
So.
Any other themes?
No, that's it for me.
Got him.
All right, what do we rate in this movie?
I give it an 8.
Okay.
I enjoyed it. I will recommend it to people.
All right.
I think people should watch it, and I think I want to buy it.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's a pretty good compliment if you want to add it to the collection.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm giving it a 9. Yeah, I really enjoy this movie. It's not at the 10 level for me. I think when it comes to Paul Thomas Anderson films, there's another movie in mind that immediately gets 10. But this one is a 9. It's very close.
Mhm.
And I really love everything that this movie has to offer. There are still some things where I'm kind of like, all right, yeah, like I kind of like understand that, I'm supposed to do some of the work and interpret things, but I kind of just want to know what you meant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, but
I
I
get
get what
you.
you guys are saying, but a 9 for me.
Yeah, the only reason why I gave it an 8 is because I wanted a little more like stability. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I just wanted a little bit more answers, a little bit more predictability, and then I would have given it a higher score. But I think 8 is pretty good.
Nice. All right. Well,
Not
that's
too bad.
yeah, for sure. That's the end of the episode, you guys. So if you guys did stick all the way to the end, you guys know what to do. Make sure you guys rate and review the shows on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, wherever you guys listen audibly. Or if you're watching on YouTube,
Yeah.
make sure that you guys are leaving likes, commenting, subscribing, sharing the videos, hitting the bell, so that way you guys know whenever we upload. We usually try to upload the same time we upload our audio podcasts, which are on Wednesdays, but sometimes, unforeseen circumstances happen. So
Yeah.
if you got that bell on, you'll know exactly when it is when we post, and you'll be able to be the first on the scene to check it out. So,
So smash that like button.
yeah, seriously.
Don't forget to like and subscribe,
yeah, for
and
real,
leave a comment on the bottom.
for real.
Let's get this video to 100 likes.
Seriously, it's kind of crazy. Our most popular episode is the Shark Boy and Lava Girl episode on
That's right.
YouTube, and I think last I checked, it had like 650 views.
Yeah.
That's
People
so
are-
crazy.
Which is insane.
That's everybody's childhood right there. They're
It
all
is.
like, nobody talks about the movie either. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like nobody has constructively like analyzed the film like
Yeah.
we did,
Yeah.
or tried to, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, we had a good time.
Yeah, it was a fun one. But continue to watch the videos, share all that stuff. If you want to get in contact with us, all of our methods of contact are in every episode description. We've got a TikTok now.
Yeah.
So if you're on TikTok, make sure you follow us at the Film Bros Podcast. Interact with the content there too. Share videos with friends. We're trying to grow this thing even more than it already is. So,
Yeah.
it only helps when you guys do that. So we do appreciate you guys for doing so. If you ever take the time to do so, we just want you guys to know we do appreciate you. But other than that, we'll go ahead and get on with the next episode that we're going to be doing, which is Nick's pick.
Nick's pick.
Yes.
What are we doing?
So we are doing a movie about the Zuck himself,
The Zuck.
the Zuckerberg, called The Social Experiment.
Social Network.
The Social Network. You're right. The Social Network. What am I thinking?
I don't
You
know.
want to
Social
do? You
experiment.
want to do
You're
a
thinking
The
social?
Stanford
You're
prison experiment is what I was thinking.
I thought
of.
you were thinking of pranks on YouTube.
No. Oh, like
Social experiments.
Gone Wild.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stealing Jordans in the hood.
Oh my god.
You'll never believe how this person reacts. Yeah.
Yeah. So the
Picking up ladies at
social.
the beach.
I hate you.
It's either- or what's the other one?
Gold digger
Rock paper,
prank.
rock
It's,
paper scissors. If I win, you want to? I kiss you.
It's like
Oh, I just want to kiss you already.
it's like what is it?
It's mommy makeout day.
mommy makeout day,
We're
and
on
she's
the
holding her
beach.
5-year-old daughter.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude. And he just goes. Oh, it's like he's.
all you-
disgusting. I hate it.
I hate.
And the mic is literally like this, dude.
I'm gonna create a secret handshake with you, and if you can't keep up, you owe me a kiss. And they're all, oh, you can't keep up.
Oh, it's so cringy.
Yeah, I hate it.
Yeah. Social Network came
Yeah.
out in 2010. I think it's got Jesse Eisenberg.
Yes, Jesse Eisenberg. It even has Justin Timberlake in it.
Is he a pretty big part of it?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Andrew Garfield, he's in it as
Yes.
well. Rooney Mara, she's in
Okay.
it.
All right.
A couple other people. I think. What's her?
Is Jonah Hill in
Dakota
it?
Johnston. She's in it. Jonah Hill is not in it.
Not sure.
I'm thinking of War Dogs, man.
Freaking Homeboy's in it too. I want to drink your blood. I want to snack on your ribs.
What is that, bro?
Marilyn Manson?
No,
No.
Crap.
Corpses,
You
right?
said call me by your name.
Oh, Army Hammer.
Yes.
Yeah, Army.
I want to drink your blood.
Is that what?
The
oh,
text.
you're bringing that up. Oh.
He's in it too.
Okay.
There's two of them.
Really?
Yeah, he plays the twins. Have you never seen this?
I've never seen it. No, that's why I chose it. is
Oh,
because
I've never seen it either.
I love the Social Network. Social Network is a great movie.
yeah.
Is it streaming anywhere?
Oh, that's not something I looked up. I bought it
Okay.
a long time ago on your recommendation.
Yeah, I
You
have a
told-
copy.
Told me such good things about it.
It's awesome.
I don't know if I like Jesse Eisenberg that much. I only really know him from his role in Now You See Me.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say zombie.
I was gonna say,
Oh,
I know
well-
from Zombieland, Adventureland. Come on.
I already went on the Zombieland 2 rant. No,
Yeah.
no, and also as Lex Luthor, which was pretty bad.
Okay.
But let me see if it's streaming. I think it's not.
Let's see. Take a look real quick.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's not. Only because
Bro, tell me why I just looked up the Social Experiment.
the Social Experiment. That's the first thing that comes to mind.
It's on Netflix.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, it's streaming on Netflix.
Okay, so the Social
Yeah.
Network streaming on Netflix.
Directed by David Fincher.
Get it while you can.
Same guy that did Fight Club.
Yep.
Zodiac. Seven. A couple other ones.
Yeah, I'm excited to see the start of Facebook, how it started up,
Yeah.
because it's kind of like crapped on now. So
Yeah. It's awesome.
Now
I'm excited to rewatch.
Yeah, I'm
I-
excited to watch
I can't
it
believe I
first
said
time.
Facebook, man. It's meta.
Yeah.
I've got to
Oh,
get
yeah,
all
it is
into that.
meta.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dude, I just got a NFT for some shoes I'll never be able to wear.
Yeah.
But it's on the blockchain, so it's cool. I'm skeptical of NFTs.
I don't even know what you're saying.
Crypto and all that crap.
Doge
Just
the
don't
moon.
get it. It's not tangible. Like, how lame is it to be like, I have a painting and it's only online, and it's like, all right, hey,
Screen-
guess what? Screenshot.
Yeah. And they're like,
Hey,
no,
look how
no,
I have it.
you,
No,
you
it's
don't
not
get
on
it.
It's not on the blockchain.
You don't have the matrix of data, man. That's what it means to own it.
All right,
You
dude.
get it?
Who cares?
Who cares?
Yeah.
I get it, but whatever.
All right. Well, all that aside,
Social Network.
go check out the Social Network. It's gonna be streaming on Netflix, like we said, and then tune back in next week to hear what we have to say about that movie. As always, this has been the Film Bros Podcast. Thank you guys, and good night.
Good night.
Good night.